Hello to you friends on these final days of November 2022. In this video I want to tell you about a personal friend of mine who's very dear to me. We met about 20 years ago in the airport in Cuba, and we were both travelers, so we started traveling together actually right there, and then we continued. We were both happening to be going to Panama, so started from Panama. Well, we've been all over the world together. And I've known this guy, well, at that time that I met him, he had been divorced and he was just traveling the world and you know, changing jobs and everything. He had come out of a bad marriage. Well, he was single all the years we traveled together, and even after he was married, he remarried this woman. First, they moved in together, then as they do, she insisted on marrying. And I didn't want to introduce any kind of a negative omen into the situation. I just reminded him that, you're living together, you're not 18. He was in his late 50s at the time, 50s or something. I told him there's no really reason for you to get married. You're not going to have any kids together. So, but he says, I don't want to be alone or whatever. He made a mistake and he married her. And couple years, 2, 3, 4 years later, we were at some kind of an Oktoberfest party, and his wife now was telling a story that, oh yes, that when this guy and I met, I was looking online for a man, and I wanted to make sure he's a man that has preferably no kids, no baggage, no mother and father to take care of, and he's kind of free and clear with a good job and a solid home and all that. Now, that really rubbed me the wrong way, because this woman was coming out of a nasty, nasty marriage, still in fight in courts with her ex. She had 2 kids, one of them basically an irresponsible guy who was still being supported by his father in nearly age of 30. The other one was a seriously troubled girl who's in and out of mental hospitals, and she's still a basket case, and in and out of the relationships with kids, out of marriage, and just a ball of mess. Anyways, throughout the years, this woman, my friend was making good money and still is making pretty good money, working for corporate America. But throughout the years, I witnessed from afar that he did things that she kind of made him do. Buy a home near her parents, in an unfavorable place, where he could have bought a home in a much nicer place, and it would have been so much more that he could have retired on. But no, he bought the home near there, and her mother dies, and he has to take care of all the things about selling the house and selling the furniture in it and painting the house and getting it ready for sale. Then her father died, and he had to be involved with emptying the house after 27 years of living somewhere he was. All the hard labor, all the hard work, everything was on his shoulder. Her brothers were out of the picture. And then few years later, she had no other relatives to want to be near, so she makes him sell that home that he bought for her in a place that was for her purposes near her parents to begin with, and moves him to some remote area where her sister and her husband, who are also on the verge of divorce, happen to live. So everything was, as it is with most women, revolved around what she wants and what is desirable for her. And for some reason, God unknown to me, he continued going along with it. And I witnessed him from afar, just being a shell of a man that he used to be. And I've stayed with him a couple of times, at his house, 2, 3 days at a time. I still care for him dearly. He's a good friend. But the moment he comes home, he opens the bottle of wine until he passes out every night in front of the TV. And that is a routine for him, every night. I call that self-medication, because he knows the mess that he's in. And he couldn't get out now, because he's made, they've been married over 12, 13 years, and he's built quite an asset for himself, and, he's stuck. The reason I'm mentioning this story is, in my view, a sad story, is to be a lesson for others. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Of course, I'm against marriage in the West, if you have any assets. But if you want to get married, whatever, don't let the woman rule your life, and don't do everything that she wants for fear of being alone, because if you do, regardless, you will be alone. Because now my friend is living in some remote area that is closest to the sister of this woman, and he has no friends there. He calls me and he says, oh yeah, well, the weather is hotter, and What else? I told him, well, what have you been doing? He says, well, nothing really, just watching TV, and he's got his work agreed to do remote, so he doesn't have the interaction with his co-workers anymore. He's been basically emasculated and turned into an empty shell of a man who is there like that engine I always describe, like an engine under the hood of a car that's getting you home, but you never want to really deal with it, get your hands dirty or work. The engine being the man, and the car and you getting home and everything being the woman. He is there for the purpose of facilitating her life and making the things she wants and needs easy. I am honestly telling you as it is. Now, no one put a gun to his head to force him to get married. He did it on his own. You know, we got to be honest here. No one did it. He wanted to do it. And most men that get married, no one puts a gun to their head. They do it, but they don't consider the consequences. They only look at the positives, which in the case of marriage, a lot of it you don't even get. When you're making a big decision, usually the positives and negatives come together. In the case of marriage, the positive comes there only in the very beginning, and then they slowly and very quickly sometimes disappear. So only the negatives remain. It is what it is. It is what it is. I am telling you like it is. So learning from the mistakes of others, as I am beginning to repeat in every video, is the wise way to go, gentlemen. Don't insist on making your own mistakes. Don't be that guy. Don't be someone who spends his life trying to please others, ending up more unhappy than he ever imagined in his life. All the best. God be with you.